As I mentioned in the Blissey V video yesterday, standard rotation is happening on March 30th in Pokemon TCG Live, removing all D-block cards from the format. The bad news is that nearly every card from Sword and Shield base set through Shining Fates is rotating, meaning that this is what Malamar will soon look like. The good news is that, since Malamar is a Rapid Strike Pokemon introduced in Battle Styles, the first set of the E-block of cards, it doesn't suffer too much from rotation. However, the options provided by the Shady Dealings Drizzile line are gone, same with the discard pile of the Cinccino line. Thankfully, Kirlia from Silver Tempest works as a replacement for Cinccino. It has 10 less HP and you'll probably never use the attack, but it's still great for this deck. Another benefit is that Kirlia can evolve into Gardevoir or Gallade. For Malamar, you probably want to use the Buddy Catch Gallade, which gets you any supporter from your deck. I included the 60 hit point Ralts in the deck, but if you find yourself in trouble against Lost Box Sableye, you could swap it for the 70 hit point version. Honestly though, Malamar's chances of beating Lost Box are so low that it's not really worth teching for. Octillery is still a great card for the deck. Unfortunately, you can only use one Octillery per turn, so bring the count down from a 4-4 to a 3-3. You also want one copy of Manaphy to protect your bench Pokemon. And the best Radiant Pokemon to include in the deck is Radiant Venusaur, as it refills your hand to 4 at the end of your turn. Just be aware that retreating a Venusaur isn't easy, and its ability is shut off by Path to the Peak. Finally, and most obviously, you want a full 4-4 Malamar line. Malamar does 40 damage for each Rapid Strike card you shuffle from your hand back into your deck, so you don't want to go too crazy when it comes to benching Inkay. You want your board to essentially be 2 Kirlia, 1 Venusaur, 1 Octillery, and 2 Inkay. Since Malamar is your only attacker, those Inkay are precious. There's a few other Pokemon options you can include if you want to. Shining Arcana Gardevoir can simply draw you 2 cards from the top of your deck. Shadow Flicker Marshadow's attack can go get you any 2 Rapid Strike cards from your deck. Keep Calling Sobble can put 3 Rapid Strike Pokemon on your bench. And Hisuian Basculin can put any 2 Pokemon on your bench for free. Now let's move to trainer cards. In terms of supporters, you'll want 4 Korrina's Focus for both draw power and boosting Malamar's damage output. Then from Scarlet and Violet base set, we have a great new supporter in Miriam. Since Kirlia forces you to discard cards from your hand, and Ordinary Rod rotates, Miriam is perfect. It shuffles up to 5 Pokemon back into your deck and draws you 3 cards. You'll still want to use at least 1 copy of Klara though, as it puts both Pokemon and energy back into your hand rather than your deck, but Miriam allows you to be a little destructive and not get punished. Professor's Research is a bad supporter for this deck, so swap it out with Cynthia's Ambition, which refills your hand to 8 if a Pokemon was knocked out the previous turn. For added consistency and more potential damage, go with Brawly over Bruno. And just in case, there's 1 copy of Pal Pad to shuffle back any 2 supporters. For items, there's 4 Fog Crystal, which you already own thanks to the Shadow Rider deck. 4 Level Ball are great, allowing you to get any Pokemon with 90 hit points or less. And 4 Capturing Aroma are nice, replacing Great Ball. The reason you want Capturing Aroma over Great Ball is that it's guaranteed to get you a Pokemon, you just don't know if it'll be a basic or an evolution. For stadiums, you want to cut the Tower of Waters from 3 to 2. Then add a copy of Mesagoza, which allows either player to flip a coin, then go get any Pokemon from their deck if it's heads. You could always go with 2 Mesagoza and 1 Tower of Waters, but I'm trying to get you to hit as hard as possible with this build. Experimenting with counts and other cards is part of the fun. There's not too many other cards you could swap in here. Rapid Strike Mustard is too niche, and Echoing Horn isn't terribly necessary given that Malamar lacks any sort of Gust cards. A copy of Hisuian Heavy Ball might be worthwhile though, since it can go and get an Inkay if you happen to prize one. It just depends on how unlucky you think you'll be with prizes. In terms of energy, it's super straightforward. 4 Spiral Energy and 4 Psychic Energy. That's it. You do have to be careful, obviously, but if you utilize Klara correctly, you might never have a Spiral Energy hit the discard pile. And that's Malamar in 2023. As I mentioned in the Blissey video, this wave of default free decks may rotate on March 30th, so make sure you play live before then to get them in your account. And when we get new free decks on March 30th, some of the cards you need to craft may be included. For now though, set aside 3,345 credits to make Malamar great. If you have any suggestions to make Malamar better this year, let everyone know in the comments.